Hey, what's up? Now, this is a retrospective I've been wanting to do for a while, but just like the top 10 surprisingly good movies, it got pushed back because my throat my throat was shot. And last month there was a new Harry Potter adjacent movie called Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. And so I decided I wanted to do a retrospective. This is my own personal retrospective of the Harry Potter series. I'm talking about the books, and even I'm going to talk about the movies, or as much as I know about the movies. And so, here we go. Let's take you back to, I believe, 2000. I'm probably saying the book came out earlier than that, I know, but this is how I experienced it. So one day, I'm living with my parents, and my cousin comes over, and we're like getting ready to finish high school, and he hands me this book, and he tells me, you should check this book out, it's good. And it's Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, or the Philosopher's Stone if you're living in the UK, or other places where it's called the Philosopher's Stone. And he tells me, yeah, we have similar tastes, so I think you'll like this book just like I did. And I was not I did not want to read it because part of me was not really into reading at that point because we were just getting ready to finish high school, and throughout high school, you know how it is. They make you read books and that you have no interest in. Some of them are not that good, and even sometimes when they let you read a book of your choice, they try and strip away all the fun out of the book. And so I was not really interested in reading it, but he tells me, you should check it out. It's good. And so what he does is he puts it on my desk, and he says, I'm going to just leave it here, and whenever you get a chance, read it, and let me know what you think. And so a month passes by. Yeah, a month. I don't touch the book, except maybe to knock dust off of it. And so I just leave the book aside. I don't do anything with it for a month. Then one night, I'm bored, and there's nothing on TV. I didn't know what kind of movie I wanted to watch, and this is years before YouTube or anything like that. You can't just go on the internet and entertain yourself. And so I see the book, and I say, let's check it out. So I grab it. I say, I want to read a chapter, and if I don't like it, I'm just gonna give it back tomorrow, and then say, hey, I tried, not my liking. I ended up reading 3 chapters that night. I read 3 chapters straight that night because I couldn't put the book down. I was really enthralled with the story. Harry was a very interesting character. He was very sympathetic, and he was a character that I really liked. And it was just a perfect book to get me to enjoy reading. And especially after coming out of, being forced to read something I had no interest in. And so I read the book in about a week, and then I gave it back to him, and I said, yeah, this is really good, you're right. Man, I can't believe it took me a month to start reading it. And I said I kind of wish there was more of them, because there were definitely some parts of the story that were missing. Harry's backstory, his parents, all of this stuff going on. You didn't know what happened. And that worked to the book's strength because it allowed it to be a series. I'm pretty sure it was never meant to be a series at first, because from what I've heard afterwards, J.K. Rowling had a hard time getting that first book even published. And so now that story wasn't fleshed out too well and left it open for more, the second book and then on could develop that. So it lends me the second book, and none of that happens. Not really. It's not as good as the first book. I don't like it as much. The new characters, I did not like to it. Let's do this. Spoiler alert for the Harry Potter books. Let's be honest here. If you haven't read them by now, you're not going to read them. So screw it. I'm going to spoil things throughout this retrospective. Gilderoy Lockhart, I did not like. I thought he was an arrogant douche, and I just knew he was a fraud. It's like all this tough talk. I knew a lot of people growing up. They would talk all this crap. They would act all badass, and then that you knew they were full of it. And that's exactly what Gilderoy Lockhart was. And so I didn't like him. I didn't like Dobby. I didn't like Colin Creevy, the new kid that was like Harry's fanboy. And so I was like, man, I hope the rest of the books aren't like this, because if it is, it's going to be a real disappointment from how good the first book was. And my cousin tells me, oh, don't worry about it. It's just that the second book is kind of weak. Once you get into the third book, yeah, the third book is definitely better. And he was right. That third book is really good. It's one of my favorites. And it might be my third favorite book, actually. And I read it, and it was, yes, this is what I wanted. I wanted more of this. A little more backstory on Harry, talking about his dad and his whole thing, and how he was when he was young. That was cool to see. You get a little more backstory, a little more fleshed out on who Harry's parents were, because at this point they were just like a Disney parents. They were either in the background or they were dead, and he didn't know anything about them. So it was really good, and it was the first book to not have Voldemort as the villain, or you know who, if as they always refer to him. And so it was really cool to see that. Not to mention the fact that Sirius Black, when he came out, he was such an interesting character. And that first time you see him and you hear about him, you're meant to hate this guy. But then as the story and the books roll on, you really start to see him differently. And this is a great way of developing the character. Make him a bad guy first, but then hit that out of from left field, saying, no, what you thought about him was wrong, and it's actually this person. It was actually Pettigrew that ended up betraying Harry's parents. And I was like, oh man, the first time they said, yeah, Harry's dad, James Potter, and Sirius Black were best friends. They basically grew up together as brothers. And I was like, oh, so that's why this happens and that, and why they're talking to Harry about this and that. And it gives you the pieces of the puzzle, and that's what's great. You have this discovery with Harry, which makes it fun, which makes it interesting. And I like that a lot about this third book. Not to mention, Lupin is such a better character than Lockhart. And Lupin, they always talk about the bags on his eyes to make him look older than he really is, but he was very sharp. He's still a smart man, and it definitely portrays it in the book. And it's a really good book. And so when the fourth book, I was about to read the fourth book, I was like, oh man, I wonder what they're going to do next. And holy crap, the fourth book, it's really good. It's really good. There's so many good things in that fourth book. The Trial Was a Tournament is a lot of fun. The descriptions of the trials themselves, Harry fighting the dragon, going underwater to where the mermaids were, that maze, preparing for each of these. Not to mention, now he has another ally with Sirius Black, and it's so good. And by the time I finished reading this fourth book, I'm like, oh man, I can't wait for the fifth book to come out. And yeah, it was so much anticipation, because I didn't like read them one and then wait a few years and then wait a few years. I read them like in a span of like 2 or 3 months. Yeah, 2 or 3 months, and then like 2001, about that time was when I think I finished reading the 4 books. Yeah, right around beginning of 2001, I finished reading all 4 books, and so it was quite a thing for me to read that. Now I've got to wait for the 5th book to come out, and that 5th book takes years to come out. Yeah, it takes years for that book to come out. And so in the meantime, there are a couple of books that they're little like Easter egg, but kind of like side books. And that's kind of what the movie apparently is going to be. And The one was Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, which is based on a book in the Harry Potter universe called The Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. So it was kind of giving us a nice little thing to hold us over until the 5th book comes out, which would be 3 years. But there was something else that was meant to hold us, delay for the 5th book, and that was the first Harry Potter movie. I remember we went to Comic-Con, the San Diego Comic-Con, in 2001. This was when they also had the first trailer for Spider-Man, the first Spider-Man movie, and it had the Twin Towers, the World Trade Center. Yeah, looking back, man, it was crazy. But this also, it was the first time we saw the Harry Potter trailer. And my cousins, my uncles, we were like, oh man, I can't believe they're making a Harry Potter movie. This is going to be awesome. I can't wait to see the movie. We were excited to see it, especially seeing it at Comic-Con. And the way it was presented, it really made you feel like you were going to be part of the Harry Potter experience, be part of, experience that world, and have it be brought to life. And so that movie came out in December of 2001. And so we were just all looking forward to seeing that movie. And a lot of people apparently were waiting to see that movie too, because that movie made like $94 million in its opening weekend. It was the biggest opening day ever until Spider-Man, the first Spider-Man movie, came out, I think the following year. And so I didn't watch it when it first came out. I waited a couple of weeks to wait for the hype to die down, and also for the theaters to not be so packed when I went to go see it. And I went to go see it, and I wanted to like it. I wanted to like this movie. And it had good elements to it. You know, it hit the broad strokes of the book. But, you know, when I walked out of the theater and I was like, yeah, that movie was, yeah, it was okay. It was good. I was trying to convince myself that it was good. And then I tried. I want to like this movie because I was and I still am a big fan of the books. But I was like, no. They changed too many things. They made Harry too stupid. He was basically like, he was a side character to his own story, and I didn't like that. And I don't know, it's been so many years since I've seen it, I can't really put into words the disappointment I felt at the time. And so, yeah, if you remember my top 12 disappointing movies, Harry Potter is pretty close to the top on that list, because I'm such a big fan of the books that the movie I was so looking forward to the movie too. I couldn't like it. I couldn't like it in the end. And after that, I told myself, never again. I'm not going to watch any more of these movies, and I haven't. I mean, I just went to an early Christmas party the other day, and yeah, on the background, they had one of the Harry Potter movies showing, and I did everything I could to not watch the movie because I didn't want to watch it. I was trying to talk to whoever I could and not look at the screens that they had the Harry Potter movie on. I was like, no, I'm not going to watch this. No, I can't watch this. So yeah, I ended up not wanting to watch any more of the Harry Potter movies after that first one thoroughly disappointed me. But thankfully, that would be one of the only times I was ever disappointed with Harry Potter. And so, next time, in part 2 of my retrospective, I'm going to talk about the other 3 Harry Potter books. So until then, later.